Here's how you can get God of War 2 for $10. We've got all the confusing details on Horizon Forbidden West's release. There's a big sale going on right now on the PlayStation Store, and the Uncharted collection just leaked for PC. So the first game I think you should pick up for sure is Resident Evil 2's remake for $16. I play this game over and over and over. Like every time I finish it, I'm like, that's probably the last time I'm gonna play Resident Evil 2's remake. And then a couple months later, I just get the itch because the gameplay just flows so well. The upgrade path in this game is amazing. If you go out of your way exploring the RPD, you can open up lockers, you can find gun attachments, you can find new holsters. Like exploring in this game, there's a great risk reward factor because yeah, you're gonna encounter a new zombie that you have to take down, but you might just get a huge upgrade for taking that zombie down, and then you're gonna realize that you're out of ammo, so you gotta go find ammo to craft. Like every time you're starting to get bored, they open up a new area. It's like so crazy how well this game is paced. Like you go from the RPD to the parking garage to the streets outside in Raccoon City to the underground umbrella lab, and if you play as Claire, you get a completely different loop that lets you play as different characters. Like it all just flows so well. I think this game is immaculate, and if you're really into it, you should also pick up Resident Evil 3 because they kind of feel like companion games that work well together, because Resident Evil 3's remake reused a lot of the assets from Resident Evil 2. Everyone's favorite real-life simulator, Grand Theft Auto 5, is also on sale for $15. Now, I've definitely seen this one cheaper, as low as like $5, but we know that it's a free upgrade from the PS4 version to the PS5 version, which is coming out later this year, and they're definitely gonna upcharge you for the PS5 version when that comes out. So get in early if you plan on checking out Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS5 and just buy it for $15 on PS4 now. And I'm pretty sure this is the deluxe edition. I don't know what that comes with, but it's not just the standard edition of the game, which is cool. We just talked about Hitman 2 because it's one of the free PS Plus games this month, and if you blow through that and you want more Hitman action, you should pick up Hitman 3 because it's $30 right now. I got it when it came out, and I imported Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 into it, and when you do that, it remasters all the levels from the two previous games and gives you more objectives that are closely tied to the new gameplay upgrades that they included with 3, and it feels like one big ultimate package of a game, and I think that's really cool. I wish more games would do that with their sequels, where when the sequel comes out, if it's similar enough to the game that came before, they import the old game into it and include all of the new gameplay upgrades. It was just such a cool thing that Hitman did that I thought more people would catch on to, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. Anyway, Hitman 3 is awesome. It's got a ton of new levels that are bigger than anything you've seen in the series before, and if you really like Hitman 2 after playing it for free, $30 isn't a lot for how much content you get with 3. And I'm in the middle of a playthrough of The Last of Us Part 1 right now, so I decided to go check if Part 2 is on sale, and that's at a pretty low price for this game at $40. This is a huge game that's single player only and has virtually no microtransactions, which is what everyone's asking for, so if you haven't played The Last of Us Part 2, you should check it out. There's very few games that I've played in my life where I feel like I can say it's like playing a movie, but The Last of Us Part 2, it feels like playing a movie. Just the level of detail, the acting, the facial expressions they've managed to capture, the characterization, the writing, like everything feels next level compared to so many other games. And I guess that's what Naughty Dog has been known for a while now, but I feel like they really peaked with The Last of Us Part 2. It's just everything they've made over the past decade coming together and assisting this game and being the best thing they've ever made. And I know some people don't like some of the story turns, but the fact that it gets you as mad as it does, to me, says that the writing is good. And The Last of Us Remastered is $19.99 right now, but don't buy it if you have a PS5 because it's definitely included in the PS Plus collection. That would really suck to go and buy it on an app or something and then come home and be like, shoot, I already paid for it and I could have played it for free. So we found out when Days Gone came to PC that Sony was not only happy with that game's sales on Steam or whatever, they were also happy with Horizon Zero Dawn sales as well, and they said they were going to continue porting their games over to PC. Now during that time, a slideshow that was internal to Sony leaked, and they said, yep, we're also bringing Uncharted 4 to PC. And I remember we talked about it in a video, and I was like, why would you start with 4? On porting that to PC? You're gonna be like, all right, PC players, you've never played an Uncharted game, so pick up on the last one? That didn't seem right. Well, now we have a leaked social media post from Sony that clears things up in a really cool way, because it looks like this December 7th actually, the day before Halo Infinite comes out, they might be releasing the entire Uncharted collection on Steam and the Epic Games Store. And this post, I looked at it pretty close. It looks like a real social media ad from Sony. They just swapped out Nathan Drake on the Uncharted collection cover, because before it was the Uncharted 3 Nathan Drake, but now that it also includes Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, you've got the new Nate Drake from Uncharted 4 on the cover. It looks awesome, and we know that coming up is this big PlayStation Studios showcase. They're not calling it State of Play for some reason, so I feel like that's the perfect time to announce this port of every Uncharted game to PC. Uncharted's a big deal for me because it's actually the first game I played on PS3, because when I picked up my PS3, it was a lot cheaper because I waited. I started on the Xbox 360, guys, don't kill me. But by that time, there were good games out like Infamous. I don't think Infamous 2 was out just yet, but I definitely picked up the first one. I got Uncharted and Uncharted 2. I got Resistance 2 because Resistance 1, you couldn't go back and play that game by that point. But Uncharted was the first game I put in my PS3 and I was blown away. I liked the stuff I was playing on my Xbox 360. I had fun with Skate, I had fun with Halo 3, I loved ODST, I liked Reach a lot. Man, playing Uncharted was the first time, I just talked about this earlier in the video, that I felt like I was playing a movie. It was just so cool. And then rolling right into Uncharted 2, that's like one of the best games ever made. So getting the opportunity to go back through these games once again, and for PC players who have never played any of these games, it's gonna be pretty cool. So a couple videos back, we talked about how Psychonauts 2 on PS5 was actually going to be a pretty inferior version compared to the Xbox Series X, which rightly pissed a lot of people off, because when this game was funded, it was so long ago that it was only funded for Xbox One and PS4, but then they announced that, yeah, it's taken so long to make it, we're also gonna put it on Xbox Series X and PS5. But then all these PS5 players who backed the game are getting an inferior version. Like, that didn't seem fair. And it ran a lot better on the Xbox Series X. You got like full 4K graphics, you got higher frame rates, and then on the PS5, you're just playing the PS4 Pro version, and I totally understand why people were upset about that. Now, the reason I bring that up is because Deathloop is coming out this month, and it really started to worry people when all this stuff was happening with Psychonauts, because Deathloop is owned by Microsoft. So people were like, are they gonna hold back features on this version so in a year when they can put it on the Xbox, they can be like, yeah, this is the definitive best version of the game. But if this trailer is to believe, they're actually putting in the work to make it take advantage of the PS5's features. The first thing I think is awesome is that they're taking advantage of the adaptive triggers on the DualSense, and they're doing it in a way that I don't think any other game has. So you're gonna get every gun feeling different when you fire with it, which Call of Duty did, obviously. There's a ton of shooters that have done similar things. But the coolest thing I saw in this trailer is that your gun can jam, and it'll lock the trigger from being pulled, so you have to wait for the gun to be unjammed in the game. And that's super immersive, because you gotta remember, this is a roguelite. So you're not going to wanna die, because you're gonna have to start the entire game all over again. So if your gun's jamming in the middle of a firefight, and you know you only have one life, I can already tell that's gonna put some sweat on my brow here. I'm gonna be like, whoa, I don't wanna die. They're also gonna use the speaker on the controller, which, like, who cares? I don't really care about that, but they're using the haptics in another cool way, where each step that the main character takes, you're gonna feel the right foot on the right side of the controller and the left foot on the left side. And this is a game where you're sprinting and jumping around, you're climbing over stuff. I feel like if they really take advantage of the haptic feedback in the same way that they're making it look like they are on the trailer for stuff like that, that's gonna be really cool. So yeah, it sucks that Sony's getting shafted on Psychonauts 2, but Deathloop is a much bigger and much more important game for the console right now, knowing that Horizon got delayed, so I'm glad that it's going to take advantage of the PS5, because that's what they should be doing. So now that we know the Uncharted collection is probably coming to PC, there's never been a better time to start using the DualSense on your computer. And it's actually just a little bit tricky, so I figured I'd fill you guys in on how to do it. So if you got a laptop or a PC with a Bluetooth adapter, all you have to do is put it into pairing mode, and then on the DualSense itself, you just hold the PS button and the share button at the same time. It'll start blinking, and that's how you know it's in pairing mode. Now, once you pair it with your PC, Steam will basically do all of the rest of the work for you, because if a game supports the DualSense, the game will override Steam and you'll get all the DualSense features that comes along with it, which a lot of games actually do, which I think is awesome. But if a game is not supported with the DualSense, Steam will kind of override it and just remap all the buttons on your DualSense to Xbox buttons, and you'll be good to go there. Now, there are also custom configurations you can pull up on Steam, where if the current configuration doesn't take advantage of the DualSense in the ways that you want it to, there's generally probably like 99% of the time going to be a custom community configuration edition that works a lot better. I use those all the time. I remember when the DualShock 4 came out, that was the first time people were like, hey, we should start using these controllers on PC, because that was one of the first Sony controllers that actually competed with the Microsoft controller in a way that people were actually arguing that it was better. And honestly, I wanted to use it as well. And things have gotten a lot better with this DualSense update, because with the DualShock 4, initially, you needed a separate program that some guy just made and put up for free on the internet, and you felt like you were downloading a virus. Now, it's all built into the controller and it's built into Steam, which is awesome. So I'm crossing my fingers, I'm manifesting it into existence. On December 7th, when the Uncharted collection is out on PC, I'm excited to finally get to use my DualSense to play it, because that's gonna be sweet. Playing this at 60 frames per second, hopefully in 4K, hopefully with upgraded textures, and using a DualSense, just the way it was intended. Who wants to use a Microsoft controller to play an Uncharted game? Not me. So I'm here in Butler, Pennsylvania for the weekend for Last Stand Live, and we had a PlayStation news emergency. So Dustin here, who's been on the channel before, and I decided to hop on camera and talk about this crazy Horizon Forbidden West news.
Man, it's been quite the story. Sony PR kind of all over the place.
So yeah, long story short, last week Sony came out and announced way too many editions of Horizon Forbidden West. There was the standard edition, which was just the disc and you had to buy it for the console you wanted it for. There was the digital deluxe edition, there was the special edition, there were 2 collector's editions, and the controversy stemmed from the fact that the only way to get a free upgrade to the PS5 version of the game from the PS4 version was to pay for the $80 deluxe edition, and you could also pay for the collector's editions because they came with the digital deluxe edition. And then over the weekend, more people realized that earlier, like last year, I think, Sony announced that they would have a free upgrade from PS4 to PS5 for Horizon, which you actually told me. So can you explain that?
Yeah, so where Sony really screwed up was they weren't even giving people the option to pay $10 or whatever to get the upgrade. And then to add insult to injury, they promised this for free. Jim Ryan in an interview said, "Don't be disappointed about Horizon coming to PS4. We'll offer you a free upgrade." But apparently, good old Sony PR, whoever, did not remember that.
So like Sony usually does, they were quiet for a couple days and then they came out and said, "All right guys, we hear you loud and clear. Yes, you called us on our bullshit. We did say we would give you a free upgrade for Horizon Forbidden West from PS4 to PS5, so we are going to honor that." But things actually got a little better because it's kind of been different from game to game. Like, they had a very similar system to Horizon with Spider-Man Miles Morales, where you would have to buy the Ultimate Edition to get Spider-Man Remastered. And now they're saying, nope, going forward, it's going to be $10 if you have the PS4 edition of any of our PlayStation Studios games. You're going to pay $10 if you want to upgrade it to PS5, which is still worse than a lot of what Xbox is doing, which I don't really like, but the argument there is that you're getting much better first-party exclusives and more of them on PlayStation.
Right. I mean, Jimmy, you would think Sony going into the new generation, they'd have these like a standardized upgrade system. No. I mean, Jimmy, we talked about this last time. We love Sony. This is why you have this channel. Yep. But we're going to call them out on things like this when they need to be called out.
I've definitely seen the light here after talking about the Ghost of Tsushima upgrade, because at that point I was like, I don't know. It's not really hiding much of the patch behind the $30 upgrade because they had already upgraded the game to 60 frames per second. And the visual enhancements on this new enhanced edition aren't really anything too noticeable, but now I'm like, nah, that gave them enough rope to do the stuff that they're doing with Horizon. We gotta nip this in the bud. I'm glad Sony's listening, and like, yeah, I wish the upgrades were just going to be free going forward, because I don't know, I don't feel like Sony's gonna make all that much money off these $10 upgrades. Like, at that point, just make it free, I think, but it's better than nothing.
Right. For me, it depends. Like, Ghost of Tsushima, maybe not $10. The Death Stranding one, a lot of new content. I'm okay with paying for lots of new content, but they are kind of standardizing in a weird way. I don't know, we want the standardization, but we also want to get what we pay for. So, Sony, you know, all over the place.
Yeah, and they've had a weird philosophy with their PS4 exclusives. Like, sometimes they do a 60 FPS upgrade, and sometimes they do a PS5 re-release of the game, and it's not really clear if we can expect that. Like, we don't know if Horizon Zero Dawn is going to get a native PS5 edition, but it got the 60 FPS upgrade. Spider-Man got a remastered edition that was like a pack-in thing. We got the Ghost of Tsushima re-release, but Days Gone apparently is just going to stay with its 60 FPS patch. Like, I feel like Sony would do well to just kind of like standardize what they're going to do for each game instead of doing it on a piece-by-piece basis, because right now there's not a lot of new stuff to play anyway. So if they keep re-releasing the older games on PS5 as native versions, I feel like that's just going to help them in the long run anyway.
Right. Yeah, it's all confusing, and especially in this case where Horizon started as a PS4 game. So I understand there's some disappointment in that, but you know, the PS5 version, the fact they're getting the $10 upgrade, it's nice, but again, they got to read the room with Xbox and smart delivery. Like, I get the argument, but you know, Xbox is clearly ahead on this.
Yeah, so now that we got this out of the way, I think the next thing Sony needs to really start tackling is PS5 exclusive games that aren't coming to PS4. I feel like that's the one thing where they're still lacking a little bit. And if they beat Microsoft to the punch on that one, because we know Microsoft's going to get there eventually with Starfield, that's only coming to next-gen systems. I want Sony to start releasing their games exclusively before that, because I want to see this new console that we paid $500 for, or more if you bought it from a scalper, be taken advantage of.
Right. The key for me always right now, Jimmy, is that the competition is clearly heating up, right? Like, yeah. Both consoles a little bit of a slow start. I think Xbox a little slower in the terms of software, for sure. But, like you said, Starfield, Halo, and then all the games they have announced, Redfall. So it's definitely heating up, which is good for us, the gamers, who are excited about all these games, the competition. It's good.
But yeah, that's all we have for this breaking PS5 news emergency. Thanks so much for joining me once again here on the channel, Dustin. You got to come by more often.
Dude, I love it. Thank you, Jimmy. You're a very good friend of mine, and it's great to collaborate and do stuff. And you're doing great here with PSReady. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
And thank you for having me on again.
If you want to find Dustin's work, he does this podcast, which is incredible, called Sacred Symbols, over on Last Stand Media. I was on their bonus show, Sacred Symbols Plus, recently, talking about the new iteration of the PS5. And he also streams on Twitch at Dustin Can Fly. His Twitch streams are amazing. They're like a mix of just chatting and Demon Souls and all the other Souls games. You have a goal to play every PlayStation exclusive as it comes out, right? Like, you want to have every PlayStation 5 exclusive covered.
Right. Yeah, the goal is to play all of them, but my stream, it's all over the place. I wore the tinfoil suit for Abandon. We've been talking a lot about Abandon, and it's just a wild time.
So make sure you let us know what you think of all this news down in the comments below, and remember to subscribe and set your notifications to all. As always, guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.